story either, you're only 18 years old. But when you go into this, you made a commitment, I'm gonna buy this course, I'm gonna take the license, test. But if you had to do a preliminary session, maybe it's not even for credit, but it's mandatory, where real people came in and said, here's the deal. I mean, these are the expenses you're gonna have right off the bat, just like you said, take out a small business
Hey, better have
loan.
30 grand in the bank when you get started.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't know that.
I sat with
And that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I sat with someone who cried when I was at Century 21 because she, when she did her taxes the first year and realized how much she had to pay in, she was apparently,
She
and
didn't
I
save
don't
the cent.
understand because this is an educated, smart girl, how she didn't know that entire year.
That you're making all this, or making money.
You still pay taxes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're not having your employer hold those out of your check.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
responsible for quarterlies, you're paying at the end of the year. So that goes back into the broker just needing to be a little more upfront with, you're coming into this, 0 benefits.
Yeah.
You get if you want to say 40 hours of personal time a week, think of it that way and you'll be out of work
Mhm.
real quick.
Mhm.
You're gonna get no health insurance, no pension,
Mhm.
no
No retirement.
No
Yeah,
retirement.
no.
What's wrong with
Yeah.
having all that in the licensing class?
Or right, or
Mhm.
have it there, and
Mhm.
you should,
Even if they
common
have to-
sense should, I mean,
Right.
I didn't need to be told, Mark didn't need to tell me that, I knew that.
Right, but a lot of
But apparently
don't.
a lot of people don't.
Even if there was like a preface to the
Right.
course, like you said, if they
Yeah.
had to pay $150 to come in and listen to 2 full days of
Yeah.
what the business is really all about, and
Yeah.
what you need to do in order
Right.
to get into the business before you take the course.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
almost
Great
like, I mean,
idea,
like any good
right
book,
there.
there's a preface, and you read that, or
Right.
you come to that,
Yeah.
and then, if you've taken that, and you still wanna move forward, then, and only then, can you take the course.
Right. So how do you do that when the course is owned by an external and the test is external?
Maybe it needs to be online, Skyped, face to face, so that
Yeah.
you can see that they're actually taking it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, if they could do something online like that first,
Because it's like a seminar. I mean,
And
it's like
it is.
going to a seminar and
and then
saying,
go into the course if they're
wow,
good.
these are people, you know, that, and that's why I say to my students all the time, what are you gonna do with this? Like, it's great, you're gonna check off all these classes, but think to the end.
Mhm.
And this is like, you know, whatever, in 5 weeks, if you have to wait 4 weeks for your license, I mean, it's a really short window. And if you think you see these rich realtors running around, I mean, that appears to be wonderful, but this is really what's happening.
And
So-
we've all had that where you sell someone's house and at the end they think to themselves,
Gee, I wanna be a
geez, you
realtor."
made $6,000 and you barely did anything. This was fun. I want to do this.
Yeah,
Can I
yeah.
get my license?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You look like you're having
I mean, we've
fun.
had
Yeah.
more than that have said, holy crap, you did a lot and you worked for your money and I wouldn't want to do what you do in a million years.
Right.
Yeah.
But you do
Right,
have
but
those,
there's a bunch of
occasionally
them.
those deals that just,
Mhm.
and then they're like,
Mhm.
wow, it's easy money, I should do that.
Yeah.
Because you have all that free time. You can
Exactly.
do what you want when you
Right.
want. Yeah, right.
So you bring up a good point, and I think that's, you know, and I think everybody knows it, and it's, I'm gonna document it, and then they're gonna hopefully use it to support arguments or, you know, conversations with the BRR and try to change legislation, and apparently there's 15 or 20 or 30, I'm not sure, questions on the test that can be that are Montana-based that we can kind of change a little bit, but that's not gonna answer that question.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the testing so much as about the upfront
Yeah,
education that they're not getting.
no, no.
It probably,
And this is too long, 11 months before they go through this
Yeah,
is
that's way too
nonsense.
long
I don't
to
think
wait.
that they should even be able to be licensed until they've done the rookie course
I
personally.
agree.
Yes, yes.
yeah,
I-
exactly.
You know, they have no business having a license until they've done this,
Oh,
in
They
my
should be
opinion.
tested on, they should be tested on
This.
forms and stuff. That
Mhm.
should be,
Mhm.
that should be in there.
Part of the testing.
I think it sounds like kind of what I was thinking, 2 years. Besides, we need more stringent testing up front for new agents and more money up front. Maybe it needs to be tougher to become a designated broker too. Maybe
Mhm.
we have way too many people that just
Mhm.
think, I'll take that 10,
Mhm.
20% commission cut, easy,
Mhm.
bring you on and then ignore you. You know, maybe we need to have tougher standards for who can be a designated broker.
Or a
I don't even
supervising
remember-
broker.
Or supervisor,
Yeah, I think the
designated.
supervising broker stuff needs to be
Yeah.
a lot,
'Cause I don't
the
even
education
remember
needs to be a
how-
lot better.
I
You
don't
just
even-
take the course.
Is it just
And the
a
course
one-day
is just a
class?
stupid little course that doesn't teach anything.
Yeah, I
No.
was gonna
It's
say, I don't
another,
even
it's
read
Another
that.
one of those.
typical to the real estate industry.
You know,
And
in
it
fact,
doesn't
Here,
have
take
a
this
test.
class.
I
8
thought,
hour.
I
Yeah.
thought the testing got easier as you went. I thought Morton was the hardest. The broker test was easier to me than Knoll Morton, and apparently becoming a supervising broker must
It's
have been
even easier.
Yeah.
Well, you can take your broker license and the very next day, take the supervising course and be a supervising
And there ought to
broker.
be timelines on that you
Okay.
have to be a broker for 5 years before you
Yeah.
can be a supervising broker.
Okay.
Or, you have to supervise yourself first.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yep.
So, I
So
don't,
it's because our EO tells stories in Helena that you can be 3 years in the industry and already be a supervising broker.
Mhm.
So you are, and transactions are included in that, but that you start, you get your license and then just move right through the steps and,
And the problem is, I know, for example, at one of the offices, there's a gal that is she has her supervising broker designation and has never worked with buyers. She only worked with sellers as a listing. And she was an assistant to somebody else
Mhm.
and would just do all the paperwork. She was a paperwork shuffler, but they gave her credit for all of them so she could get her broker's license because you have to have so many deals.
Oh.
They gave her credit for all of those transactions, even though she really didn't. They weren't her own transactions. I
Okay.
mean, there's too much of that goes
Okay,
on.
okay.
And so in reality, she never worked with buyers, never really
Okay.
really did go out and get her own listings. Everything was handed to her just so she could get this designation so that they could use her as a supervising broker.
Okay.
So
Then you're gonna be training
it's very
and mentoring people.
unregulated. It's
Yeah.
stupid how they allow
Okay,
this
Yep.
stuff to happen.
okay.
And it's not that I like a lot of regulation, blah, 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 but
Yeah,
it's just, what regulation they have is ineffective,
right,
and there's
That
too many
seems
ways
to be-
around the rules
yep,
and not enough of the right education. You
Okay.
send them to a week of school where they learn nothing for the industry, but they learn how to pass a test. I mean, it's
and then
just,
they're not effective in the
it's
field.
stupid.
Because they don't know what they need to know.
well, they come out without any knowledge.
Yeah, so to me, if you increase the barriers to entry, but if you also increased their level of knowledge, just knowing what their next hurdle was would
Yes.
be an increased barrier to entry. Just having that preliminary, if you have a friend that's in the industry and they talk honestly to you, and that kind of goes back to if you had a sponsoring broker, but but that may, like you said, only the puppy mills may pick people up. So if you
Well, it's true.
had a real, person who gave you that feedback and said, this is what's gonna look like, and then why waste your time and money because you're jumping in.
Is
Okay,
that how it used to be? Did you used to have a sponsoring broker before you could take
yes,
Morton?
so it was,
Oh.
these were people 30 plus years in the industry
Hmm.
that were talking in Hamilton, and I don't know where they came from initially, but they too said they had a sponsoring broker.
Well, I can tell you that if you talk to any of us old timers, we had no clue when we got into business. I mean, we had no clue
Yeah,
until we were in it.
yep.
And like you said, had I not had a spouse that,
Mhm,
was
mhm.
able to,
Because that's hard, because
Yeah.
that's a situation where you're not looking at your customer's best interest. You're
Mhm.
thinking, when it's 100% commission based, you're thinking of your,
But here's the other thought, and Mara wants to know how can we help or
Yep.
whatever. One thing I know about human nature is if you've got something really great out there and you're really good at it, everybody else wants a part of that, and
Yep.
a piece of that.
yep,
It doesn't matter what it is.
right.
So if Mara were to bring out some super great education, whether it be on that front end right afterwards, sponsor that, move it forward, and they could still make money, but they have to be the key people at the obviously, and moving around.
yeah, everything comes from the upper levels, NAR to MAR.
Yeah,
It's easier to say, but if you role model it and make it happen, that's a whole nother situation.
mhm,
It's my,
mhm. Okay, well, that's what, I really feel that they wanna know how to better service you and how to give you what you need and not overwhelm you, not require too many rules and regulations that would be stifling, yet make sure that the industry continues to improve professionally.
I think that they will be surprised by what they're going to hear, because I think their impression is that we want less education, less mandatory, less
Mhm.
regulation,
Mhm.
whereas I really don't think that's the case at all. And I
Mhm.
think that their perception of what we want is not the reality. So this is a really good
Mhm,
thing,
mhm.
because I think when they see this, they're gonna be shocked by it.
Yep, because
I
I
really
think
do.
I think that's what a lot of people, they just wanna do their own thing, and I've heard some people say, yeah, just leave us alone, and an older group, was more like, Yeah, pass that along to the next group, but I wanna be grandfathered in, you know?
Yeah, and I think
It's
you're
like-
gonna see that with the older
Yeah,
folks, they don't
and-
wanna be regulated, they've been at this a
No,
long time, but I
and-
think the regulation really needs to happen in the education
Yep,
up front.
Yep, because it's not gonna benefit their business, and then if they're ready to retire, then that's okay, it'll just pass along. So what else do you see, because you guys you jumped right to my next question, which was great. What can MAR do for you specifically? I mean, do you think there's anything more? So besides training, can they do anything else that's gonna help regionally?
Do they have any control over BRR?
A little bit.
You know, BRR is very, very apathetic,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just so much apathy. When you
Mhm.
talk to them on the phone, it's like they don't really care,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to really weed some of that out.
Mm-hmm.
Because we call there and we feel like, well, that was senseless and useless, because obviously they don't
Mhm.
care. You know, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, you know, I'll get back to you next week because I'm going on vacation. It's that.
Mhm.
So I think that there
Okay.
needs to be a little bit more, and I haven't talked to the state. The state's always been very helpful when I've called them. I've
Okay.
never had a problem with that, but BRR is a problem.
Okay. So I think I heard Jenny say there's like 3 new members, so.
Yeah, they've been short-staffed, and
Yeah.
that's always their excuses, oh, we're short-staffed, and,
Yeah.
oh, we'll get to it, and
Yeah, okay, okay, so more buy-in. Well, it's hard to say, so what would you guys feel, this is
Yeah.
just another situation, if there was an auditor that kind of ran around and kind of checked on
Well,
things?
isn't there?
there already is.
Yes, but like even more.
I don't think it would matter.
Okay,
I don't think it
Okay.
would change behaviors.
okay,
I really don't.
all right.
I mean, we already have a little fear of, you know, okay, what if we get audited? Everybody has that fear. I don't think it would be any different than that,
Okay, okay, because that was just,
realistically.
okay. And there is some, and I think that they wanna know, so I looked at it more like a mystery shopper, you know, if somebody was kind of out, you know, just
Mhm.
kind of walking around, kind of watching people and nobody really knew who it was.
But we already have those as well under,
Okay.
well, even, yeah, property management or fair housing. We have fair
Okay.
housing people that do that.
Okay,
They'll hire a family to go and be a
Well, that's-
buyer and make sure they're being treated you know, they already do that.
okay,
And so I always warn everybody that always assume,
Yeah.
always assume you're being
Referring
shopped.
to-
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they do it in property management, but they also do it, I believe they do it to us.
okay, so that's the first time I heard someone mention that, I think they do it already, but they didn't really know where. So I mean, that's the kind of thing that you need to talk about
is a
in
question.
this little pre-course, in my opinion. Here's what can happen, here's how you're liable. I mean, you guys haven't talked as much about legal responsibility, but I mean, what is the broker what's their liability if their agent does something? I mean, and what's your agency, how are they liable? So, I mean, I think these are things that if you knew, you're actually writing a legal contract, you know, and what's
You're
your.
right, yeah, absolutely.
And we have that debate in our office a lot.
Mhm.
There's a few agents who would prefer we have, or a few brokers, I mean, who would prefer that we have 0 agents, that we just have brokers.
Okay.
Mhm.
And they're kind of on the older retirement end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have some others that are like, well, bring as many in as we can get, flock them in, bring in the new agents, and then you have, you know, there's a definite divide, and that, it all comes down to legal.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think, first time there's an admissions claim from one of these new agents, then the
Mhm.
ones that are pro, bring them all in, might go,
Yeah, yeah.
Although I think it's your
10-9
lackadaisy
maybe.
older agents that are almost more of a liability.
yeah.
You know, they're so
that's true.
sloppy, some of them, you
Yeah.
know, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
You know, so I don't know that that's really valid, what they
Yeah.
say, but we get it too. But I look at them, it's like, I really don't think that's as valid as people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I get contracts from old people that are still doing things old school,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, you know,
On it now.
I don't know that you can really, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, other than a
Yeah.
lot more education, make it more difficult. Stop making it so easy,
Okay.
because it just sets people up, everybody up for disaster.
Okay. Well, I don't have my clock, but it's right.
All right, great.
Okay.
That was fantastic, I'm glad I stayed to listen.
Yeah.
Because I am on that BRR working group, I've was recently put on there, and it's a little overwhelming. They're on about 3 or 4 different things, and I thought this was a little bit different than what it was.
So
I'm glad
easy
I
for
see.
me. I didn't have to move the camera.
All right.
I mean, it was
Almost
good.
put you to
guys
sleep.
did a good job.
Hopefully there's 2 people next time too.
Just Twilight.
Thanks.
We give a darn. And we
I need
came
to
for
get
our
more
prize,
books on
is
my
what we did.
phone.
We really just came for our prize.
That's right.
Well, you know, I honestly don't know. I gave Jenny some more names of brokers late Friday night. I don't know if they just didn't get, if it came so quickly and they didn't get contacted, or no one could do it at short notice. Or-
Yeah, well, that happens.
I mean, those
But-
things happen, but I don't know.
It does.
And it's
so.
been, you know, I mean, some are just, you know, if there's lunch provided, if there's
Yeah.
free.
Yeah, right?
There's lunch.
You guys should grab a
Oh.
kiddo book.
But
All right.
What are we
Alright.
doing next?
I'm gonna take off.
The
so-
agents. Agents are coming.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
It'd be interesting